My neighbors needed a new table for their brand new deck, so I built them one. Let me show you how. Okay, first things first, let me just tell you, this is going to be an outdoor table. So I chose to use cedar for the boards. If you were gonna make this inside though, you could definitely use pine and it would save you some money. Also, since this is an outdoor table, it is going to be a coffee table size. All my measurements are going to be based on that fact that this will be the size of a coffee table. You could also certainly modify all of the measurements for a dining room table, and that would be fantastic. I think this design is really pretty. It's kind of a mix between a farmhouse design, but also I think really beautiful, updated, and traditional. First things I did was to cut down a bunch of pieces. If you would like the plans, the PDF printable plans, as well as the cut list, join me in Patreon and my members get the building plans for all of my building videos. So check that link out below. For just a couple of dollars, you can get all the plans for this table, and it'll make a lot more sense when you see those plans printed out in front of you. So I'm cutting down some pieces. We are going to do the legs first. I cut all of the pieces down for both sets of legs. It's kind of a trestle style table, so that's what we're going to build here first. This is also a fantastic build for a beginner builder because all we're using are 2x4s, 2x6s. I'm going to be using my miter saw quite a bit here to cut the pieces. Wood glue, screws, and a screwdriver. And I'm gonna use my nail gun just a little bit, but that would be something you wouldn't even have to use if you didn't have one. So I'm starting to build each of the trestles here. We're building up the cross beams, and the way I built this also, there's no need for pocket holes at all. So we're just building it up bit by bit, piece by piece here. I love using screws that are really sharp. They grab the wood really nice and quickly. Self-driving screws, and they also have a star bit. That helps me grab the screw really nice and drive it in nice and firm, especially when I don't have an extra set of hands for somebody to hold it. So I'm using glue and screws during this entire build to give it a really sturdy, long-lasting length. Okay, so you can see this is the vertical piece that will go up, and the horizontal piece has an angle to it. There's two different ways you can do the angle because it's going to be two pieces of wood stacked on top of each other. You can cut them separately, or you can wait till they're all put together and cut them together so that angle is nice and flush. And I'm screwing the post onto the feet. Again, using the same 2.5-inch screws and glue to really give it a really sturdy hold. And this piece is the very bottom of each foot of the table. And when I sink those screws in there nice and tight, the feet will be flush to the floor and give it a nice sturdy table. Now the nice thing about these feet, they are as wide as the table. That's kind of nice, again, just for sturdiness. Little kids can jump off this table if they want to, since it's a backyard table, and it will not tip over. It's not at all tippy, it's nice and firm. I cut the angle on these little cross pieces. This just adds a little bit of support, but really gives it a cool X look. And this is where I'm using my nail gun. Again, if you didn't have a nail gun, you could just tap a nail in there with a hammer. The glue will hold that nice and tight once it's dry. I repeated the entire process to make the other feet. And then I put a cross beam on each top Here, again, just screwing it down, and then this is what the top planks are going to attach to the table with. Once these trestles are built, the gap here in the center is for another 2x4. So 2x4 will go right across the legs of that table. You'll just hammer it in, tap it in. It's going to hold that table together and give it some extra support. And I think it gives it a really cool look as well. Okay, I have my 2x6s all cut to length and just line them up. I used the tip of a screw to get a little gap in between each board. This is especially important because this is an outdoor table. I need a little bit of a gap so any rain that falls can fall right through the table and will not pool or sit on top. If you were doing this for an indoor table, you wouldn't want that gap to be so big, so keep that in mind as you're building. Now, something else here I did a little bit differently. So I screwed each plank into the feet. And then I got a tip from another carpenter to use little figure 8 brackets. I'm going to drop a link to the brackets below, as well as a video that I watched that helped explain a little bit more how to install the tabletop planks to the feet, and it'll give it a little bit of movement, a little bit of an ability to wiggle around a little bit, so it's something to consider. So check out that description below, and I will link to the little piece of hardware I used. I didn't grab any pictures or a video of it, but I think it was a good move, so I'll put that below for you. If you would like the building plans to this table, as well as all the upcoming furniture building projects, check out my Patreon page. I would love to see you there. I sanded the table down with 80 grit sandpaper, followed by 120 to get off all the splinters, any rough spots at all. And then I stained this with exterior stain. I will drop a link to what I used below, and 3 coats of top coat. The legs were painted white with General Finishes milk paint, which is an exterior paint, and that is how I finished this table off. It turned out gorgeous. Don't forget, you can also check out this playlist for other fun building projects. I'll see you next time.